Hello there guys, my name is Jay or DA and welcome back to another episode of the Old Norse Shipyards builds video. So I teased something last week which you guys seem pretty intrigued by, and it is something that is brand new, but it's something based off of something I built ages ago that everyone wanted to see, and now I think I've got it kind of perfect and on a nice size. So the ship you see before you is the Modir, which is mother in Old Norse, and basically this is like a Hive vehicle, or as other people would call it, an aircraft carrier. So basically this craft is it is literally your average aircraft carrier, but with a few home touches so you can live within it quite comfortably. It has 4 areas for people to sleep in. It has quite a lot of med bay capacity, so people, it can be used as a ship that could, say, take in a lot of people off of a planet. And it has 2 ramps that allow you to take off, and of course it is fully atmospheric, so it does work. But I must say right now, I do actually have this thing on stilts because for some reason putting ships onto this ship, well, I know why, but I don't think it should happen. Basically, the issue I'm having is I put these crafts on here, turn them off so their gravity generators aren't on or their artificial mass blocks aren't on, and they, for some reason, continue to push the ship down. So I've had to put it on stilts because it is being pushed down, and it's not being pushed down so much that it's crumpling the blocks, but I've had to put these blocks here to make sure it stays upright. So let's get into having a bit of a gander around the ship, I think, because you guys are probably more intrigued by the exterior. I know probably a lot of people are intrigued by the interior. So underneath we've got quite a lot of turrets. We have 8 in total. We've got 4 on the front, 4 on the back. And notice I actually took out a section of the ship just to make it look a bit more weird and strange. And it's kind of like a hook design, which is really cool, I think. Anyway, it looks really nice, and that was purely done because I had nothing that could fill this space besides more cargo and stuff, and I didn't want the ship to be too heavy, so I took out that whole chunk of the ship and sort of staggered the boarding and the takeoff ramps. So the one ramp is like double the size of the second ramp, so you know, depending on what ship you're flying, you can take off, but both ships on this are capable of flying off quite nicely, and there's a bit of a technique to that. And I also had to alter the ships to suit this craft because they do bounce off the bottom of the boarding ramps slightly, which does cause a little bit of an issue in terms of stuff blowing up. But let's move on. So if we actually have a gander on the back section, we do actually have some area for how do you say, we've got areas for smaller ships, say like some sort of helicopter sort of craft or something like that, which I haven't built yet, but I would love to have a gander at building something that small that could fit there and be very comfortable using those pads to land off and take. To take off and land. So I think without further ado, we'll go inside and have a gander at what's inside here. So I'll just firstly, I'll take you over to one of the ships and show you the edits I've had to make. So originally this wing section had like 4 wheels on, and I figured that's quite wasteful really, having the 4 wheels. It doesn't really need that. So I basically used the back wheel and then sort of slanted the rest back and sort of made it a bit tidier. I think it looks a lot slicker, to be fair. And when this does take off, it doesn't have the issue where the front landing gear and the back landing gear, because the one's further forward than the other, you get this slight jolt which would jolt the back end out, and then you would end up having landing gears floating around in space, which wasn't a good sign. So that has hopefully fixed the issue. I have had to add on some landing pads under here as well, which are quite nice and neat and out of the way. Reason why is because on this craft they do move around a lot with the wheels, and that was the only real way to sort it. But those shouldn't hopefully get in the way. I haven't really tested them yet on the ramps, but we could probably give a bit of a demonstration of that in a second. So yeah, those are really the only edits made to this ship. This is like the shorter winged version. This is, in all fairness, this is the all space version, so you won't really get this flying on a planet, but it still works. So yeah, I think let's have a gander at taking off with this, because that'll be quite interesting. So what you got to do is you got to jump inside here, and then you have to, if I get my screen up, you have to basically turn the thing on, of course, turn your artificial mass off because of course artificial mass is a bit of a bugger. And then if we hit P, we'll hit the floor. And then if we turn our dampeners off and floor it, or at least get some sort of speed up, we will actually begin to take off. Now, of course, these ships aren't capable of flying on land, so we do just crash them and beach them. But other than that, they do work pretty well in space. The other one that I am working on at the moment will be fully functional in the atmospheric conditions. But as you can see, those are the two stilts, which again, it's kind of sneaky really, but it does actually fly. If I, at the end of this, delete the other ships out of here, and we can probably take it for a bit of a test run. It is a bit sluggish and slow because it is such a big vehicle, but hopefully you guys will get the gist. So, wandering on through, we have this lovely large section, which is a dual hangar, and one leads on into the other, and this does become a fully pressurized area when the door shuts. So if I actually go over here and we press this button, what you'll get is you'll actually get those turn on first, which is a little bit of an issue. I didn't want to use too many timer blocks, but these will then shut, and this basically makes sure that the right sequence is done all the time, so you're not losing air. Now, in this current state, you do still lose a lot of the air when you open the door because, of course, the tanks are already full. So when you put the depressurize and repressurize on and off and whatever, it doesn't give out any more air or take any more air in, unless the doors are opened and it's free to escape. So, yeah, other than that, that's really the only real gripe with the way I've got that working. But it does work either way. Now, we do have a lot of storage down here just for tools and bits and bobs and parts. That is just, it's purely for looks, but they've got a bit of functionality to them, which is good. We do have lights all around the ship, but I have got them turned off for frame rate betterment, to say the least. So if we press this button, we do have lights that come on, which do light it up and make it look a bit nicer, but I didn't want to keep them on and have everyone have issues with the whole game slowing down to a ridiculous speed, which it doesn't for me necessarily, but I just didn't want people to have that when they're greeted with the world, because that can be a bit of a bother when you jump into a world and it's insta lag. It's just a nightmare. So this is the second hangar, which does have the capability of the first, but it is, of course, a little bit smaller. This hangar is able to fit 2 crafts in, whereas this one is only able to fit 1. But I think it's quite a nice mix, to be honest. We can fit, you can fit 3 ships in here, and then we can have some outside as well, parked up, and they can be ready to be taken off and everything. So I'll open up this door as well, and I'll show you how the system works for opening these. So those all go into depressurized mode, so those all suck out all oxygen. Now it does all escape at the moment, as you can see, but that is purely because the oxygen isn't being used because we're in creative. But now we have a second ship here, which we can take off in if we wanted to and crash it like the last one. But we do have walkways as well all the way up and down here, so you can actually walk around safely without being ran over by a plane or something. So up here we do have another walkway, which is kind of like one of them pointless walkways, but it allows you to get from one side to the other without having to cross the runway, which I thought was kind of a good idea, and I put it underneath the ramp to utilise the space a bit more. But I think it looks really nice, to be fair. I mean, there might be a few things I will want to change when it gets closer to the point, when I say, when I start figuring out a few more things with some of the newer blocks I've been greeted with some of the mods. But I think I'm getting there with it. Some may say it's very plain, but I kind of like the plainness of the look. It does match the colour scheme of everything else, which is nice. So, heading on through now, and we do have some med bays in here as well, just to let you know, so medical attention can be quickly sought out if needed. Once we open up these doors, we head on into the meeting area. It's like just a big room, lots and lots of chairs, some more storage down here, and this is where the main dormitories are. So we have the dorm 1 and 2, 3, and 4. And these are just general living spaces for the people that will be on this ship, or anyone that will be, say, inhabiting the ship. We do have lights, which it's very, very clean in here. We do have air all supplied into each room, so we do have a few screens here. And I was trying to look for a mod with like some TVs on, but I just gave up in the end. I just figured, screw it, I'll stick these screens in for now. It's less faffing around. Then we've got a nice little sort of kitchen area with some lockers over here that are the beds on the other side. And this kitchen mod is absolutely brilliant. I love the work surfaces. They're really clean and really nice, and the bench is really, really nice as well. Makes everything look so much better, and you got this like sort of rolling sort of living and eating section, which is cool. And now as we come through here, we've got lots and lots of bunk beds just for the crew, and then right at the very end we have toilets, which they are shared toilets and showers, but I'm not bothered by that, to be honest. I wouldn't mind just sharing a poop with someone, you know. So screw it. Yeah, that's how they're gonna work in my eyes. I don't see the problem with this. If you're a captain, maybe it is a bit more of a problem, but on my ships I like to think that everyone's treated as an equal, even the captains to the privates, you know. So everyone shares the same toilets, which is nice. So as we walk through here, I'm just going to turn the light off. We do actually have some windows which allow us to see outside as well, just to air things up a bit, because I was struggling to get outside light into the ship. And as I'm going to show you now, I think we do have some as we go into here. No, we don't. I got rid of it. Whoopsie. But I was really struggling to get some sort of external light inside the ship, being, you know, how many crevices and stuff. But this is Dorm 2, if you call it that, and we have a few more entertainment things up here. There's ping pong table and Pac-Man thing, and then we do have more shared toilets at the top, so each dorm does have its own toilet units. We then also have some storage right next to the bunk beds, so people can store all their stuff up there, and we have a bit of seating as well. No TV up here though, so it's kind of like the boring section. So let's move on up in the ship, because the other sides are the same, so just picture what I just showed you be the same on the other side. As we end up on this very, very lovely staircase, which did take a lot of figuring out in my head because it was very, very confusing. In all fairness, there is actually a window missing here, some little thing I forgot about. Let's find that window. We will find you and we will place the shit out of you. That's the wrong one. We need that one. That one? Yeah, just need the right colour. There we go. So we do have a lovely view of the meeting area down there, and then we do come up to this other area, which I'm kind of calling like a bit of an atrium area, which does have a bit of natural light breezing on in. So we do have the turrets up here that you can see. I did want to put windows in, and then I thought, well, what are people going to say about protective purposes? These windows are just going to get blown out and the whole shit. But this thing is like an atmospheric carrier, so even if the windows were to be blown out, it's not really too much of a fuss. I think with this craft, if it were to need to get out into space, it can do, but then it would be like, you know, to go to another planet and reside on another planet. So it's one of them sort of ships. So we do have some more oxygen up here, and this is where the main med bays, or the private med bays as I'm calling them, can be found. So in here, we've got 4 beds, 1 medical centre, and some work surfaces in here. We do have lights in here also. So around here, I can just turn the lights on. There we go, and it looks very, very pretty, very, very nice. Very open as well. I've left no doors on these because you'd want to be able to get into here as soon as if somebody was injured. So yeah, moving on into the next room, which is one of my favourite rooms, to be honest. It's the operations centre. So this is located underneath the pads that you saw up on the top of the ship for like the helicopter looking ships that I'm going to look at working on. And it kind of worked out quite nicely because this actually gives a bit of defense to the control center. Not too much, but it does give a bit more defense. So if the roof were to get shot in, it takes a bit longer because of the heavy armor. But in this room, it's purely for people who are going to be you know, just think. You're going to just have like people who can, control the oxygen levels and all that other stuff in here. And then we've got lots and lots of seats in here for gunners, because of course this ship has a lot of turrets, and we do need people to control said turrets. So you'll have lots and lots of operators on here. You'll have 6 either side. So, there's a fair few operators there for stuff. I believe we're still short with in terms of turrets, I think. Because if we've got 8 on the bottom and we've got, I think, pretty much double on the top as well, then we would need probably 16. But I'm thinking one person can swap out to 2 turrets, to say this, so they can share some of the turrets. And then we just got some more benches back here as well, which are sort of, again, just the ops director person that can just wander on in here and start figuring out power usages and stuff like that, and all that boring shizzle whizzle. So if we open up this door, we then have the back medical bay, which again, there is a lot of space, and this is more like a public one, so this is quite a big one. So we have lots and lots of med bay space down here, and we've got lots and lots of beddage. And then we also have an airlock that takes us out onto the front. This is purely just so you can get onto the deck outside, but I quite like having the ability to come out here and maybe repair the turrets, or, slap another turret on so you people can come out here and shoot off stuff. It's just quite nice, I think. And these turrets, by the way, these Minotaur turrets are absolutely badass. I love the look of them. And they really do suit the ship really nicely. So let's head on back in through this airlock and crack on with showing you the last little bit really of this build, which of course is the flight deck. So you've actually got 2 routes for this. You've got that route there, which takes you into the med bay section, which, as we've just gone through. And then you also have this staircase, which takes you up into where the flight deck area is. So we can head up here into the flight deck area. There is a light on up in here as well, so you can, turn those on if needed, if you're on, say, the dark side of the planet. And as we walk into here, this is like a bit of an empty space, because it's an awkward space to put something without it getting in the way, whatever you place there. So I didn't really know what to put here, but it's very, very open. We haven't put like a concealed staircase. It's very much on show. And then we also have another airlock that takes you out onto the main deck for where you can go to those choppers, which I thought was really good placement, because your captain or your pilots or whatever, your important people could, fly down onto here, drop down onto the pads via some sort of quick moving helicopter craft, and then they can run straight into here and do whatever they need to do to keep the ship alive. So I thought it was quite cool. Up here we have again 2 operators, which are kind of like navigators, and then we have just two seats here which could monitor bullet stocks and stuff like that. I haven't actually equipped the benches with all that stuff, because I don't see the need to, unless you guys want to do that. It's a big task for big ships, and again I think if you guys want this bench to be for checking how the guns are doing or whatever, you can do, and the screen's here to configure to do that. And then of course we have the pilot seat here, which there is 2, so we have a pilot and a co-pilot seat, which decision on my behalf, because I felt like it's kind of needed to have 2 people. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the ship down there. We're going to tidy up the bottom section of the craft. We're going to get rid of these joints, and then we're going to take this thing for a bit of a run. There we go. And then we can just jump in whichever one is the pilot seat, which I think was the right hand side. Oh no, this isn't the main cockpit, it was the left hand side. There we go. And then we can start flying around, which, as you can see, this thing does get around planets quite nicely with all the hydrogen thrusters. My only issue is yes, they are hydrogen thrusters. There's not a lot of the other thrusters, whatever they're called, the atmospheric thrusters, because I wanted this thing to be able to fly in space as well, so I figured let's just use solely hydrogen. Makes a bit more sense. My only issue is it doesn't slow down too well, because it's hasn't got that much braking force on the back end, but that to me is no real biggie. And yeah, so it's quite a nice ship. It does move around planets quite well, Steering's a little bit delayed, but that is because of the size of the ship, and I didn't want to put too many gyroscopes in or else it'd get really power hungry. It isn't that power hungry, to be honest, and I must say there are only 4, or I believe there are only 4, I think it's 4 or 6 reactors on this, which is quite impressive. If I didn't add any more, I can't remember if I added any more or not now, because I've been doing that much tinkering with this lately. Reactors, main reactors, there we go. So wherever these reactors are, aha, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I was right. So 6. So with the 6 reactors, it's not power hungry at all. It doesn't slurp up too much of the power unless you're using multiple thrusters at the same time. But you know, it's pretty damn badass for what it is. And again, we are getting up to speed quite nicely here. And again, slowing down, very, very slow, but I think it looks cool. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed looking at the Modir. I really love this ship, to be honest. I like the ramps, and I think I did a good job, especially with not been working on big ships like this lately, and jumping back into it now. I've actually quite enjoyed this. It took a while, but we got there in the end. So I think with no further ado, we'll go and fly up into space. It looks pretty mean, like on the Avengers when you see the helicarriers for the first time. It looks pretty damn mean coming out the clouds. But this is gonna be quite devastating. Full-on collision into the planet's surface from outer space. Oh, you guys wouldn't have realised, but the slowdown in frames was really dramatic. But it doesn't. It took a beating. I think most of the side engines went, the thrusters, but damn son, that was pretty cool. I like doing that. I like crashing stuff, it's fun. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, please go and check it out on the workshop. It is available to you guys now, so I'll leave the link in the description for that. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, favorite, and of course subscribe for more, and I will see you guys later. Peace.